Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to our last SHAC meeting of this school year. So it's great to see all of you guys. Thank you for making time out of your schedules to joining us this morning. Like always, we have a great agenda for you, all of you guys. My name is Rigo Hernandez. I'm the Assistant Director of Special Ed. We're going to go ahead and get started. We have... So as you can see, we're even having trouble with technology this morning. So one of our presenters, guys, Ms. Aguilar, if you joined us during our last SHAC meeting, she presented on mental health. She shared great information. She's not able to join us physically this morning. She's gonna join us through Google Meets, but she's also having some technical difficulties on her end. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go get started. If she's still not able to log in, we're gonna go ahead with our other presenters, and then once she's able to log in, then she'll start her presentation, okay? So we're gonna go get started. So pretty much, like always, guys, we're gonna go over our core values. I'll read them all for you guys. Committed to student success, a shared responsibility among students, parents, educators, and school board and the community. Learner-centered by ensuring that all students receive quality teaching and engaging instruction. Innovative in using global thinking and technology to empower students to become lifelong learners. Nurturing by creating an educational environment where all students are socially and emotionally supported, safe, and valued. And last but not least, transparent through an open communication, leadership, accountability, and integrity, okay? Our agenda, we'll start off with our family survey through a QR code. As always, we share with you guys in every SHAC meeting. We want your feedback in order to prepare for our upcoming SHAC meetings. I'll go over the SHAC overview. Our presentations, gonna have Ms. Reda just give a quick update on the fitness gram. It's that towards the end of the year when they wrap up the fitness gram, and so Ms. Reda will share some updates there. And then, like I shared, Ms. Juliana Aguilar from Crime Stoppers of Houston, she presented on mental health last time, and the information that she presented was a wealth of information, so we reached out to her again and asked her, would it be a possibility you present on a different topic for us in our last SHAC meeting? She said yes. The topic that she will be presenting is on drug and substance abuse, including prevention. Okay, so we're looking forward for that presentation as well. And then we have Ms. Valdez, our lead nurse, with some great information on campus care clinics. And then, of course, CMP Mr. Villalobos with also great information and updates regarding child nutrition. And of course, at the end, any questions or answers that we're able to answer at this point in time, we'll answer. If not, we'll take it to leadership, and then we'll get back to you with those answers. We'll conclude at the end, and then, of course, like I stated earlier, this is our last meeting of this school year, and then we have not set the dates for next school year for our 4 meetings, but once those are set, will be published in the district website. All right? So let's start off with the QR code. If you please take a moment to scan the QR code and answer some of those few questions for us, please. All right, guys, we're going to go get started. Thank you so much for taking a moment and answering those questions. First and foremost, like I've shared pretty much during all of our SHAC meetings, it's an honor to be part of our SHAC team. Great individuals in our team. Some individuals that are part of our SHAC team are able to join us this morning. Like I said earlier, it's the end of the year. We're trying to wrap up the year strong, so they were not able to join us this morning. But I'll go over each individual that's part of this team. My name is Rigo Hernandez. I'm the Assistant Director of Special Ed. We have Mr. William Swanson. He's right there, our Project Director of ACE. We have Ms. Miriam Marquez. She's President, Family Engagement Specialist. Ms. Deborah Mesa, Public Relations Manager. Ms. Castro, from Secondary Curriculum and Instruction Clerk. Ms. Reda, our Assistant Director of Data and Accountability. Ms. Crystal Fuentes, our District Testing Coordinator. Mr. Villalobos, Director of Child Nutrition Program. We have Mr. Chaides, Mr. Chaides, Child Nutrition Program Finance Director. Ms. Idalia Valdez, our Clean ISD Head Nurse. Ms. Gisela Lucero, Chief Technology Officer. Ms. Adriana Maciel, our SPED Coordinator. Ms. Jaylene Chow, Public Relations Specialist. And Ms. Valerie Martinez, our Benefits Coordinator. Okay. So quickly, an overview of SHAC. What is SHAC? SHAC stands for School Health Advisory Councils that helps parents and the community have a voice.
Good morning.
Sorry, guys. I guess Ms. Aguilar is able to check. Okay. Well, that's good news. Okay. So have a voice in issues that impact child health, whether it is about school meals, staff, wellness, vaping, recess, or bullying. SHAC can provide input and resources to district leadership as they work to find solutions to health challenges that we might be facing in our school district. SHAC requirements. There are 4 SHAC requirements. First, we must have 4 meetings throughout the school year. As stated earlier, this is our 4th meeting of the school year. Within those requirements, we must post notice of the date, hour, place, and subject 72 hours prior our meeting, which our team did a great job in creating these flyers. They send them out to every campus administrator. They display them in the front office, visible for parents, so they're aware of the meetings. And of course, also our team send out all calls to parents, notifying 72 hours prior to this meeting today. And of course, we must take audio and video recording of the meeting and minutes, which if you all are, I think everybody has been here in the last meetings. This meeting is being recorded, and Ms. Castro is taking minutes. Must end after our meeting this morning. We must submit the recording and minutes within 10 days to our and post it on our district website. This is our district website, so any information, if you ever want to go back and reference back, look at our agenda, what was covered, if you want to share it with a family member, colleague at work, please, you're more than welcome to visit our website. So we'll move on to our first presenter on Fitness Gram. It's going to be Ms. Reda. You're going to have to use this because I can't use that.
Oh, okay.
Or you want to use the mic and I'll plug it in. It's up to you.
No. Yeah. Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? Good. It's just some brief updates. Based on SHAC, we were supposed to do some compliance with Fitness Gram. Can you go to the next slide? So again, Fitness Gram is for grades 3 to 12. We have to check their physical fitness for every student in our district from grades 3 to 12. And the PE coaches, they assess based off of the student, and you pick different categories for that student. The additional information, again, just a reminder, physical fitness gram is completed by May 1st, 2026. Okay, we still have time. It's testing season for everyone, for you guys too, right? I know that you guys are working on the fitness gram, and it does take a long time because you guys have to complete every child, and then you have to enter it as well. The last part, the parents will receive a notification that they can request their child's physical fitness assessment results at the end of the year. It has to be in writing. We are just going to be posting it on our district website just to let parents know if they want the results, but they would have to either email you or write a letter saying that they request those results. And then we would have to provide those results for the students. But that will be sent after May 1st when we completed the window. We'll go ahead and send that out to parents on the district website, and we'll notify everyone. That's what the parents can do if they're interested in receiving those results. Okay. On Fitness Gram, the actual profile does have like the student progress report. It's like an individual student if the parent requested. Okay. And if you're a parent, you can request it at the end of the at the end of the testing window, okay? Do I have any questions? This is basically it that I have, yeah? Okay, good, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Reda. All right, guys, so great news. Ms. Aguilar was able to join, so let me just switch to our.
Yes, I can hear you, sorry. Yes. Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect. Well, welcome. Thank you, Ms. Aguilar, for joining and willing to present again on a different topic for us this morning. We are joining us through Google Meets. Are you able to see the audience?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. So, welcome and thanks again, Ms. Aguilar. Please go ahead and start sharing your presentation with us.
Okay. I just want to make sure that everyone can see. Just confirming. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for taking the time to go to this meeting. I am very upset that I couldn't be there in person, but perhaps next time. Um, Today, guys, we will be going over substance use prevention. So some things to really keep in mind, especially throughout all ages. This is not something that is just a problem with the older kids, secondary level. Unfortunately, it has gone down to even elementary school level. So I'll talk a little bit more in detail here in a bit. So to start off with this topic, we have to really get to know how it affects our brain. So we're gonna do a little bit of science really quickly. So if you didn't know, we have a frontal lobe right at the front of our brain. And what this part is in charge of, it's in charge of our behavior, how we react to certain things, our urges, goal setting, all of these important factors. And this part of our brain does not actually fully develop to where about 25 years old. Studies are saying that it can even be later on than what originally was stated, which was 25. Now they're saying average age now is roughly anywhere between 28 to 32. So here are some risks. So with experimentation, unfortunately, of course, a lot of kids start to experiment early on. They get peer pressure, they go to parties, they go to social gatherings, football games, whatever that may be, and they have certain substances on them and they're peer pressure to try them. Now, just to go over this graph, the earlier that someone does begin to use a substance, the greater at risk for addiction. Um, People that sell drugs know this information, right? And so that is why typically they target the younger crowd because they know if they start to use it, it becomes a habit, then they are more bound to continue to purchase. So anyone first uses a substance, any kind of substance, pill, weed, vapes, even alcohol, if they first did this before the age of 15, they are 28% more likely to come in any other age group, right? And usually 15 and under is right around the time when they start high school. So coming into their freshman year. Then we have anyone that first used a substance between 15 to 17 years old, and that is around 18%. Went down, but it's still high. Then anyone from 18 to 20, 7.4%, and over the age of 21 is 4%. So I want us to look at this graph, and on the left side, we see that the percent of people who develop a substance disorder, this is the percentage going up. And as we can see at the bottom, that is the age when people started using substances. So we can see that the lower the age, the higher the percent of the people that develop this disorder. So is experimentation really bad? Absolutely. We hear it all the time from students, from people, oh, I just tried it once, it's fine, nothing bad is going to happen. Well, that's how it starts off. So I'm gonna show you guys some graphs and explain a little bit of how addiction actually works. So we have this chemical in our brain called dopamine. Dopamine is that happy chemical that goes off in our head when we receive something that we like, right? So when we're eating a really delicious meal. So let's start off there. We have a capacity of only being able to obtain about 200%. We were built this way. We can only take so much of dopamine that can go off in our brain. So for example, food-wise, when we eat food, something that we love, our favorite meal, after we've been so hungry and we finally get food in our system, our dopamine is going off at a level at about 100%, right? So yesterday, I was really craving Wingstop. Went to go get it. I was so happy when I was eating it. My dopamine level was going off. Then we have friends. This is the category of you're hanging out with friends, your loved ones. This is also that graph where intimacy is also brought in. So a little bit higher than food, but we're still good. We are still within that 200% threshold. Now, when someone consumes cocaine, that is going above our threshold because our bodies were not meant to obtain this kind of dopamine going off in our brain. It's like our brain is being hijacked. So when someone consumes a substance like cocaine and it enters our system, our brain is going, oh, I really like this. Give me more and more, because they're experiencing a whole new level of dopamine that they've never experienced before. And that's how experimentation gets to be bad, because now you've consumed it, you've experienced it, and you want to experience that high again, that level of dopamine. So this is cocaine, right? We're about at that 300 threshold. When someone consumes something so strong like meth, that completely hijacks your system. And this is when we're really exceeding that dopamine levels. And this is why strong substances like meth really, really do some damage to us, because as we know, maybe we've seen these people out on the streets, people that become homeless, people that lose jobs, they can't keep a stable job, because when they are on a drug like meth, their brain is at a whole different level. It's a whole different world as they explain it. So they don't care really about anything other than how they obtain this drug. And this is when people can sometimes become homeless, lose their jobs, lose their families, and they don't really care how they obtain this drug. This is why if you've ever given someone that looks like an addict money on the street, the first thing that they're probably gonna go do is spend their money on this substance rather than something like food. So again, where you see that block line, that is our capacity. That is what we were only meant to experience. Anything above that, it hijacks your system. Oh, sorry. So here's how it can affect our brain. I'm sorry?
No questions.
Oh, I'm so sorry. So here are our effects on the brain. And we're almost done with this science lesson really quickly. Um, we have our healthy brain, right? We have that top line where we have all that yellow activity. That activity is what we want. We want our brains to be used. We want them to be active. At the bottom row, we have someone that was a frequent user of cocaine, and they have only been sober for 10 days. So very little activity going on. If this person ever wanted to go back to having a healthy brain, it would take them anywhere between 5 to 10 years for them to restore their activity back to normal. So why is it that people use substances? I mean, there's tons of reasons as to why, but these are the main reasons. These are the most common ones. Peer pressure, especially with the kids that are in high school, right? Upper middle school. They see some kind of thrill in being able to do it. Some, they use it to reduce stress. Maybe they lost a loved one. Some even do it as a social gratification. It's not so much that they want to be doing this, it's because they see others doing it and they want to be accepted and liked for that. So here are the substance types that are most common. We have synthetic, which pretty much means anything man-made. We have opioids, so any kind of painkiller. We have over-the-counter. We have the Advil, Tylenol, anything really you can get over-the-counter at a pharmacy that you don't need a prescription for. Nicotine, very common right now, right? The Zins are very popular, the things that you just pop and you leave in your mouth. We have alcohol, which is also a substance, and marijuana. So going through them, we're first going to go over the synthetic drugs. So synthetic drugs are artificially created. As I stated, they're anything really man-made. So in this particular category, we have something like Delta 8, we have maybe hydroxy, and synthetic opioids like fentanyl. As we know, fentanyl is very strong right now. It's the strongest drug out there currently. And so these are the risks. These are the risks that come with synthetic drugs. So everyone's bodies are going to react differently, but the most common ones is overdose, right? When it comes to laws, it really just depends on how much you have on you. And yeah, it pretty much depends on how much you have on you. That's how they determine your case and your type of felony. Opioids, often called painkillers, are of course prescriptions that block pain. So if you've ever had some kind of surgery, you've been injured really badly, you've probably been prescribed some kind of opioid. There's tons out there. And these are some of them listed. So morphine, very common. Codeine, very common. Heroin, fentanyl, oxycodone. So as you can see, we have natural and synthetic. Synthetic are the ones that are man-made in a lab. Natural, they actually come from a plant called a poppy plant. So very quickly, when it comes to fentanyl, fentanyl, as I stated, is the most powerful drug out there right now, and all that's needed to give someone an overdose and possibly even kill you is 2 milligrams of fentanyl. If you didn't know that, that is the equivalent of 2 little grains of salt. So if you cook rice. No, I take that back. It is salt. So 1 little grain of salt, just 2 of that. Just 2 little specks of salt. That is the equivalent of what you need for an overdose on fentanyl. Now, we get the question all the time, well, how do we know if our drug has been laced, if we're getting it off the street? What if we take it, we're fine? If you consume fentanyl and it didn't have the exact 2 milligrams, because they're not very precise, right? and it didn't have the exact amount in there, and you consumed it and you were able to survive the consumption of fentanyl, you have now developed a quick addiction because of the potent that fentanyl has. So here are the risks of opioids. And this is having anything to do with the previous slide, any of them that were listed. You can increase your tolerance and dependence, and the overusing can eventually develop into even constipation, throwing up, dizziness, but there is loss. So if you're caught with opioids, the penalty starts off with just 2 years in jail and up to $10,000, right? But again, everything always depends on how much you're carrying on you. Now, really quickly, going back to fentanyl. I have actually been told by an officer, this happened in Midland. It has to happen in other cities as well. They received a call to go to a playground. At this playground, they received a call because someone had left some burnt up tinfoil by a playground. They didn't want to touch it, which was a really good call. And so when police officers arrived at the scene, they picked up the tinfoil and noticed it was burned. Someone had been smoking fentanyl from this tinfoil. So the original substance of fentanyl itself is a white powder. It typically is molded into pill-like form, which is the most common way that people consume it, which is why you might have heard the slogan, "One pill can kill." However, you can also smoke the powder itself, which some people have been caught doing. If you ever see any kind of tinfoil, crumbled up and burned, do not touch it. Because even if your skin comes in contact with fentanyl, it doesn't even there has to be no cut. It can just regular skin, healthy skin, no cuts, no nothing. You can potentially still overdose from that. So this is why we tell students all the time, if you see anything funny, in a playground, somewhere, and it's burnt, or if it just doesn't give you a good feeling, do not pick it up. Because when officers arrived at the scene, they had to glove up and dispense of this in a proper way. Now, here are some things when it comes to possession of controlled substances. The penalty for any illegal possession of opioids starts at 180 days to life in jail. Again, all of this depends on how much you have on you. But if you have more than 400 grams on you, then that's the bigger fine. That's $250,000. So this is Narcan. The medical term for this is, I'm going to butcher this. There's nurses in there. Never mind. They can tell you because I'm terrible at pronouncing the actual term for Narcan. So what Narcan is, it's a way to sort of reverse the symptoms of an overdose and will eventually just buy you more time until paramedics get there and they can get you to the proper medical attention that you need. So this is available over the counter if you ever want to just have this on handy in your home. There's tons of people that actually began to carry it in their purse. Don't keep it in your car because it's supposed to be kept in a room temperature place. You don't want to keep it in your car, especially with summer coming up where it's warm. You want to keep it at room temperature. So if you're going to carry it on you, carry it with you at all times in your home. Restaurants, some bars began to also carry this on them. And this can be used at all ages. So how this is dispensed, it's a nasal spray. And this box is the most common one to have. It comes with 2 nasal sprays. So if someone were to be having an overdose, what's going to happen is they're more than likely going to be laying on the ground. You are going to spray one of them in one nostril. Once you spray that nostril, you want to wait approximately 2 minutes. And if they still don't start to have any kind of reactions, go ahead and get the other nasal spray and spray the other one in the other nostril. So this is to be in every school here in Texas. Every campus is to have them. Please, nurses, check the expiration dates on these. We have had several campuses that they have expired Narcan. We do not want that. If your campus needs Narcan, please shoot me an email. We will be glad to get you some of that. And if for some reason I do have to add in, if you haven't gotten this kind of training, here you go. If you suspect that it was an overdose, but in all honesty, it wasn't, it was something else. They have another medical issue that needed to be attended in another way, but someone dispensed Narcan to them, it's okay. It's not gonna do them any harm. It'll be just fine. The famous marijuana. So marijuana, still to this date, very commonly used. What we need to know about marijuana is there are two strands when it comes to this substance, and it's THC and CBD, which at the end of the day can affect your brain, right? A lot of people try to defend it and say, oh, it's fine, it's a plant, but too much of anything can affect your brain if you're not using it a way that you should. If you have been medically prescribed to use this substance, use it accordingly to how your provider is telling you to do so. So we have THC. So what THC does, it triggers a dopamine release. So that's what gives you that euphoric feeling where you're very relaxed, eyes turn red, very mellowed out. What CBD, it's pretty much something that promotes relaxation. You won't get that euphoria feeling, but it will calm things down. So for example, this is why we see a lot of CBD in some medical things, right? So oils, lotions, creams, because some people use this as a sense to maybe pain relief. Some can use it if they have anxiety or depression. They use essential oils to really calm it down. So CBD is typically used more in a medical setting. But it does have effects on the brain. So on the left side, we see a normal brain. I hope this is how most of our brains look. Now in the middle, we have a 16-year-old that has a 2-year history of daily marijuana use. We start to see some dents in there, right? We're seeing some holes expanded a little bit to the sides. And then on the far right, we have an 18-year-old with a 3-year history, and he's been smoking approximately 3 to 4 times a week. We definitely see the impact that this one does because we now can really tell the difference on how the brain has now developed to the sides or expanded to the sides, and the holes have become deeper. So these of marijuana, of course, it's going to stunt your brain development. It's going to give you a loss of perception, motor skills. If you guys even know someone that has been smoking marijuana for years, maybe you have noticed at some point that the way that they move can be different. Maybe they become a little lazy. They don't want to do certain things. It creates a lot of these things. So if you know someone that smokes this and they've been smoking it for years, really look at the details as to how they are as a whole. Laws, again, depends on the age and also depends on how much you have on you. You do start to get charged with up to 2 years in jail if you have at least a gram on you. And as we know, if they are 17, depending on how much they have on them, they can be charged as an adult now. If they're under 17, more than likely they will go to some kind of juvenile probation department. Over the counter, These are available without a prescription. You can just go to a pharmacy. However, you do have to be 18 at least to purchase any medicine. So here are some concerns that we have for over-the-counter. Dietary supplements. Now, what we have also noticed when it comes to dietary things, the most commonly used ones are cough syrup and any kind of painkillers like Tylenol, ibuprofen, anything like this. So what some students do sometimes when they get their hands on these is they may overconsume them. They may think the more I take, the better I'll feel if I have some kind of pain. The other downside to this is that unfortunately some students have also overdosed because that was their intention to do so, right? They wanted to commit suicide. So definitely if you have anything like this at home, please keep it in a safe place to where they don't have easy access and they can just consume more than they should. So here are some trends for concern. Kratom, because there's always something new. Kratom is something that is new on the market and it's within the marijuana family. So kratom is from a tropical tree. And so it's really sold anywhere. These little vape shops that you see at any corner, you can get it there. So it's low doses, very low doses, and it acts as a stimulant. And so the more you take, the more your body reacts. And so it'll act like a sedative. And so it can cause hallucinations. That is the concerning part. With marijuana, you're relaxed, you're in this space of, just being in place. However, this will take you to like another world, as some may say. It may cause some confusion, some nausea. So unfortunately, right now in Texas, kratom is currently legal to purchase. So please, very careful. This one's a really big one that is on the market right now, and another one would be ketamine. So these are all big ones that we really need to be focused on. We learn about one and we get all this knowledge on it, like fentanyl. We've been getting all this knowledge on fentanyl for the last couple of years, but there's always something new on the market, right? Because these drug dealers, what do they want? They want to continue to make money and make new substances. I will say something is in the works right now that is even stronger than fentanyl. It's within the fentanyl family, but way stronger. So here's some risks for over-the-counter medicine, going back to the Tylenol, right? The little stuff. Breathing problems, blacking out, unexplained seizures, and of course, death if it is overconsumed. I used to be a teacher, and when I was a high school teacher, kids are very knowledgeable on a lot of these topics like suicide. And so I did have a student that attempted to take her own life, and she consumed 50 Tylenol pills. So a huge amount, right? But it happens because it was in her household. It was available for her to consume. Nicotine. Nicotine, as we know it, it's a stimulant that speeds up our brain-body messages. So there is a few ways to consume this. Zyn, very common. If you haven't heard of what Zyn is, Zyn are like these little pouches. It can be similar to tobacco, but it's not like the dip. You leave it in your mouth like dip, but it comes in these little pouches that after a while you just throw away. So they come in different milligrams. I believe they start as low as 3 milligrams and go up to maybe 16 or 21. Vapes, they're in our vapes, they're in cigarettes. And so the most common ones right now are definitely that Zyn and the vapes. And here are the risks of nicotine: the dry coughing, the irritation of the airways. Vaping, kids have this stigma that vaping is better than any other drug, right? That is better than smoking cigarettes. Even some adults still have this this idea that smoking or vaping is better than cigarettes. Initially, that was the idea. The inventors of vaping wanted to stem away from cigarette smokers, from chain smokers, developing more and more lung cancer. However, they never realized that this would create a higher addiction. And so now we're left with all of these side effects, right? If they do it way too often, how is it going to damage their lungs? If they do it more often, well, they're purchasing vapes from a whole different kind of people. Sometimes they'll purchase them from people. Sometimes they may purchase them from these little vape shops, but in reality, they really don't even know what they're putting in their body. They don't know if some of these vapes are laced, which some can be laced with fentanyl, some can be laced with other mixtures of compounds that they don't even know what they're inhaling into their body. So, in order for someone to even purchase any of the things that I just mentioned, they do have to be 21. Some of these kids believe, oh, I can purchase it at 18. No, they cannot. The downside to all of this is a lot of these vape shops won't even ID these students. And so they're selling them to 16-year-old, 15-year-olds, and they're fine with it. And once students get the word of mouth, oh, hey, that vape shop will sell to you, they won't ID you. They're gonna go and purchase from there as well. So the law for that is that the penalty for anyone buying nicotine is a Class C misdemeanor, which is the lowest of the low. And they will get a $100 fine, and they will have to attend a tobacco awareness program. So just really quickly, I'm gonna show this quick video. We're almost done. And what I want you guys to do from this video is try to count, if you could see, hopefully you can, try to count how many vapes you spot. Because vapes were meant to be discreet, right? They don't want to be caught at school. They don't want to be caught at work doing these things. And so just try to see how many you can spot. Oh, okay. All right, let's see if you were right. So 41. So some of them you're thinking, I would never suspect this item to be a vape. We're seeing like the biggest ones that always pop out to people are this little can that looks like a travel size hairspray and the Apple Watch. If you've never seen the vapes that have a little screen on them that you can play video games on, it's around the same kind of technology as an Apple Watch, because an Apple Watch is so common to have. So it's easy for it to be discreet and someone to just take a quick hit. I have yet to see one in person, but they do exist. So just an idea of what is out there currently. Oh. So if you've ever, I'm sure you already saw that number. If you've ever seen this size vape, it's pretty big, it's pretty thick. And so it used to be very common for a lot of people to have. We have that this vape itself holds up to 5,000 puffs, which if someone that vapes frequently is trying to finish this, maybe we have a frequent vapor, someone can probably go through this in a week. some in 2 weeks, maybe some that are heavy hitters, 3 to 4 days. But smoking this and finishing this vape is the equivalent to smoking 32 packs of cigarettes. So one packet of cigarettes, I believe, holds around 16 cigarettes itself. So 16 cigarettes and 32 packs. You guys do the math, and that is how these vapes truly affect our body, your lungs, and your overall health. So no, if you were one of the few, or maybe you have a family member or friend that believes that vaping is healthier than smoking cigarettes, it is not. Please show them this, because we need to get that knowledge out there. So here's the new vaping legislation. Of course, individuals must be at least 21 years or older to legally buy any tobacco products. So HB 6 is one of the new legislations, and this says that it provides schools with flexibility in punishment for students caught vaping on a school campus. First-time offenders may now be sent to ISS instead of DAEP. Then we have SB 1313 that says it prohibits e-cigarettes retailers' use of marketing or advertisement that is clearly aimed at children. And our last one, alcohol. Some say that this is off to them, that alcohol is even a substance, but it is, because when we consume too much alcohol, we know what happens, right? We say things we may have not said sober. We start to walk a certain way. We're not our true sober selves. So here's the kind of effects that it has on our brain. On the left, we have a 15-year-old non-drinker. Again, we want to have activity in our brain. So all that pink, that's great. We want to have that. On the right, we have a 15-year-old heavy drinker. Not much activity is going on in there. And these are the risks that we can have when it comes to alcohol. We have alcohol poisoning. This happens pretty often with college students that, they're indulging on alcohol. They don't know their limits. They're mixing a whole bunch of stuff, and they end up in a hospital, and they have to get their stomachs pumped. We have impulsive behavior, gaps in memory, loss of consciousness, and death. We have a lot of deaths due to drunk drivers out there. Of course, we have to be 21 to purchase, and the penalty for someone that is not 21 or is purchasing with a fake ID is a Class C misdemeanor. And so they'll have a fine of up to $500, and they will have to attend an awareness class. So when it comes to giving and receiving support with any of the things just mentioned, look for changes in any of these things. And you guys as educators, maybe even as parents, your students, your own child. So look for changes in their appetite. When it comes to vaping, I do not know the science behind this, but for some reason, vaping suppresses hunger. And so some students that began vaping, they began to eat less and less. They became very irritated as well. There's tons of memes out there where if someone that vapes can't find their vape somewhere, they will literally flip the house upside down trying to look for that thing, because it's such a high addiction. And when it comes to vapes, guys, it's not just one vape that they have. They have multiple. They have one for their car. They may have another one in their bag. They may have their good one that they charge up in their room. They have a good at least 3 of them. And so because of this reason, we have kids that are beginning to use this particular substance at a younger age, because they're seeing mom and dad do it. They're probably seeing siblings doing it. And so because of that, they get curious and they pick up on it as well. So I've gone to DAEP campuses where we have anyone as young as a 3rd grader at this campus because they were vaping and brought the vape to their school. So just make sure you look out for the little ones of all ages, right? Look for changes in their appearance, their routines, mood disorders, their anxiety, all of these things. If you don't know how to start the conversation, because sometimes it could be awkward, it can be uncomfortable, here are some great conversation starters. So I've been hearing a lot about blank lately. Have you seen it before? Have you used it before? Are there things that your friends are doing that you think are unsafe? So great. I hope you guys took a picture of this because this is a great way to start these conversations. If you would like any more information, these are some great, great resources. If you or someone, if you know, a student has came forward and said, hey, I have this bad habit, but I want to stop. I want to get my life back in order. I want to get healthy again. I want to be a runner. I want to get into a sport. These are some great ones. Refusal skills. Some kids do not know how to say no. And so we have to be that leader and we have to be that mentor and tell them, hey, these are some great ways to say no. Use them. The simple one is to say no, but some things that they can do also is ignore the person, walking away, giving a reason or excuse. I tell kids that they should blame their parents because there is some parents out there that drug test, which is great. And so I say, hey, if you need to, just blame your parents and say that I can't, my parents drug test me. I'm not falling for that. If you need direct support, these are some great ones. Of course, kids know about the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. It is everywhere at every campus. Some campuses have even started putting this number on the back of their IDs. We have the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Helpline. That's a great one. And of course, Texas Against Fentanyl and Starting Your Recovery. If you need Narcan, apart from us, because if you need it, we will send you a box. The UT Health in San Antonio also has this great program where if you get in touch with them, I believe they will also be more than willing to send some to you as well. So look into this one. This is also a great one. Texas State also has a fentanyl prevention and awareness toolkit. So this is great for educators and parents as well. And then we have this great Texas Electronic Cigarette and Tobacco Awareness Program. Some kids need to get referred to this if they were in possession of it. And we just recently launched our program called Safe Space. So this is where we generated an AI program and kids can talk to someone on the chat and it'll generate responses for them. But they can also go on there and look through our resources. We have a topic of the month every month. They can watch real stories, kind of like they do on Instagram and TikTok, of actual high school students that we have recorded. Another great one, Texas Say What is another great resources. I'm just bombarding you guys with resources, but this is great. This is more in line with tobacco free. And this is for you guys. So we developed this safe text, and what this is, it's our AI powered texting program. And so if you scan this QR code and you save it like a phone number, what will happen is, let's say you wanted more information on fentanyl. You're gonna scan it and you're gonna text, I would like more information on fentanyl. It's going to start texting you our resources directly at hand that you can look for instead of having to go on Google and Googling it yourself. So that is all I have for you guys. I'm sorry for the technical difficulties early on, but is there any questions by any chance?
No questions, guys? No? Ms. Aguilar, thank you once again, first and foremost. Thank you again for presenting on our last SHAC meeting. Great information that you shared, especially the side effects that these drugs have on individuals' brains, the resources that you shared to us. I know as a parent, as an educator, this is very, very valuable information. I know this time of year, we also talk, there's STAR testing. We talk about, oh, we gotta be active monitors, right? But guess what, as educators and as parents, we should be active monitoring 365 days a year, not just only during testing. So, especially when you displayed those 41 plus vapes, it's like, whoa, never in my mind I would have known that was a vape. So thank you so much, Ms. Aguilar. Once again, you're more than welcome to, oh, you know what? Here I am. Forgot.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Ms. Aguilar. Sorry about that. But no, thank you again. We will be reaching out to you for next year. There's a lot of, we get feedback from the audience, from our parents, from our educators. We get feedback through a QR code. They share on topics they would like more information on. So I know when we reached out to you, there's a lot of topics that you can share information on. So we definitely will be reaching out to you and tapping into your knowledge you can be sharing for us and hopefully next school year. So appreciate everything, Ms. Aguilar. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Of course. Thank you, guys. I hope to see you guys in person soon.
Ms. Aguilar, real quick, we have one question.
From her presentation. Sorry, Ms. Aguilar, is there any way we can get pictures of the brain scans that you were showing?
Oh, what I can do is, if I heard this right, requested the pictures of the brain scans, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, what I can do is I can send Mr. Rodrigo a PDF version of our slides, and you can obtain them that way.
Perfect, Ms. Aguilar, and I'll share it with everybody here. Once again, thank you, Ms. Aguilar. I know you had some trouble, some technical difficulty this morning, but don't worry. We also had some issues on our end, so, but thank you so much, Ms. Aguilar.
Of course, you guys have a great one. Bye.
All right, perfect. So we're gonna continue with our presenters. Now we're gonna have Ms. Idalia, our head nurse.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm not here to talk about Narcan, but I'm here to talk about campus care clinics. But I do want you to know that since 2023, Clint ISD did adopt a policy, and we do have Narcan in our secondary schools. And like she was saying, the generic name is naloxone, but it's easier to just refer to it as Narcan. We have it in our secondary schools, and then in 2025, the state required it
ISD
for
students now
secondary
have-
schools.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. So we were ahead of the game. So we do have trained employees that would respond to an opioid overdose, okay? And that was just FYI. But I'm here for the campus care clinics. This is some information we've shared before, but it's a refresher because we do want to encourage this program to be used, especially because it is grant-based, and so the more we use it, the longer we have it, right? Here's a little video just showing you what campus care clinics are.
Clint ISD students now have access to medical care right from school. Campus care clinics are conveniently located in the nurse's office, where your child will be able to receive quality medical care from a licensed medical provider. Our providers are available through telemedicine and able to assess, test, diagnose, and prescribe medications to your child. Each clinic has a coordinator that will facilitate the visit, and the coordinators are equipped with COVID, strep, flu, and RSV tests, and a device to aid the provider in examining your child. Your child can be treated for common illnesses such as the common cold, COVID, strep, influenza, and ear infections, among many others. Our providers can send medications to the pharmacy of your choice, saving a trip to the doctor's office. Parents will be provided with a summary at the end of the visit and excuse notes when necessary. There is no need to change your child's pediatrician, and all insurances are accepted. Uninsured individuals will be offered a discount program, and we will never deny services due to the inability to pay or immigration status. Campus care clinics are brought to you by Project Vida.
Okay. So I hope you are all aware that we have this program. We've actually had it for about 6 years now. We have a partnership with Project Vida, and they do provide Clint ISD students with medical services within the school district. We do have it in certain campuses. Like I said, it is grant-based. We currently have 5 campuses with this clinic. However, other campuses are able to go to these clinics even if they don't belong to the campus where it's at. We have a clinic at Frank Macias, at Ricardo Estrada Middle School, Horizon High School, East Montana Middle, and Red Sands Elementary. Okay, so if your student is ill and you would like an appointment, you can always call the clinics and I'll give you those numbers. Okay? So if you're a parent and you would like to take a picture of this, this is the phone numbers that you would call to make an appointment. They are appointment-based. And if your child is at one of these schools and they go to the nurse's office, the nurses, let's say they have an earache, the nurse, if you've already signed a consent, will call you, ask you if you want them to be seen at the clinic. If you say yes, you don't have to be present if they're 4th grade and up. But the provider always calls you and lets you know, hey, yes, we saw an ear infection. As you saw in the video, they use a device called Tidal Pro, and it's a little camera where the provider's actually able to look inside the ear, look at the throat, listen to lung sounds, and all those things to make an assessment and be sure of what they're diagnosing. Okay, if you do want more information, you could go onto the Clint ISD website, click on Students and Families, and then you'll see Campus Care Clinics. Okay, it'll link you to the video and more information. If you look on the left side, you'll be able to see how the Tidal Care device works, how your insurance would work, the registration process, and then all the clinics that we have available. If you need to contact the clinics, the information's also there, the link. And then if you would like to print out a consent form, those are also available through that link. Okay, any questions? Yes?
Not so much a question, but just a comment. Not a question, but just a comment that just want to say keep up the good work for Ricardo Estrada Heart Safe School, first in our county. So certainly appreciate your hard work over there. So congratulations again. Yeah.
Thank you.
I just wanted to ask for the discount. Is there a base rate for the students that just are self-pay, or it depends on their income, and how does that work?
So the most that a family would pay for a visit would be $75. However, families are able to apply for the discount program, and that's going to be income-based. And so it would be less than $75, but never more. And that would include the testing for COVID, strep, flu, and your analysis. Of course, any medications that are prescribed, that would be the pharmacy, and that cost is separate from the actual program. Any other questions?
So how does this work for high schoolers? Because I know you are at EMMS, right? The clinic?
When it comes to high school, the only high school that has the clinic is Horizon High School. And so when I said the students can be there without the parent present, those are going to be Horizon High School students. If, let's say, someone from Mountain View needs an appointment, then the parent would need to accompany them to East Montana Middle School for those appointments. So if you're going outside your campus, then the parent would need to be present. It's only the schools that have the clinic where the students 4th grade and above can go without a parent, if the parent gave consent, of course. Would they go to the nurse office and then? For a different campus or the campus that has the clinic? For Mountain View? So yes, then if they're at Mountain View and then they need an appointment, the nurse will call you and ask you, do you want me to refer them to the clinic? If you say yes, then yeah, you would go with them. But you don't need the nurse referral, okay? Let's say you already know about the clinic and your child woke up with a fever, you're not gonna send them to school. You can call the clinic and tell them that if you can make an appointment. So you don't necessarily need, unless the student is at school, then of course it would be through the nurse. But if you're gonna keep them home, call the clinic and make an appointment. Because it's not walk-in basis, okay? It is by appointment. Any other questions? No? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Valdez, for sharing that. I know, guys, Ms. Valdez and Ms. Martinez from Benefits, they're a great resource for us. Anytime we need support with our kids, we reach out to them. They've networked with a lot of outside agencies, and so they're a good resource if you ever need any information or any support. Thank you, Ms. Valdez, for sharing. Next, we have Mr. Villalobos.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I know we've been sitting for a while, so everybody just want to stand up for a minute? Stand up for a minute? Just take a minute, stand up, stretch, and give somebody a high five or a fist bump at your table. Just give them a high five, fist bump. Say, Child Nutrition rocks. All right, here you go. SHAC rocks. All right, stretch out a little bit. My back was getting tight there for a minute. All right, okay, we're good now. Thank you, guys. So my name is Mr. Villalobos. I'm the Child Nutrition Director here in Clint ISD. These SHAC meetings are awesome. It's a great way for y'all to come. We thank you. See some familiar faces here. We hope everybody had a great spring break, was able to rest, recharge a little bit, and we're excited to share some updates to finish out the year. So this is the last SHAC meeting. It's pretty cool that we've been kind of meeting and finally on the last one, right? But we will see hopefully everybody next year on the next SHAC meeting. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to our dietitian, Carla Guerra. She's gonna go over some updates. And then at the end, I can answer questions, or anybody from our team can answer any questions or comments that you might have, okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Put this over here. Thank you, everyone, for your time. So we are the Child Nutrition Program. We are the program that basically is federally funded to provide our students with breakfast, lunch, and dinner at no cost. With that being said, we do have some regulations that we must follow, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the recent changes we are currently going through. So today I'm going to go over the federal and state updates that pertain to school nutrition. As you can see in this infographic, it's a very simple USDA timeline that allows us to track any changes that we have been making. So if you look at fall 2025, we have some significant changes due to the Dietary Guidelines of America that came out in spring 2024. In 2025, we now have limits on added sugar with our cereal, yogurts, and milk, and also our flavored milks. We have limited sugars on those. And then on fall 2026, as you can see, there was not a lot of big changes until just now recently this year. In January of 2026, a recent bill was signed. It's called the Whole Milk and Healthy Kids Act. We did speak about this the last SHAC meeting, but if you were not here, it basically immediately expands the milk options that we can offer to our students during lunchtime. So our K through 12 students can now be offered whole milk or 2% milk of their choice. Right now, we are testing this out in our schools during lunchtime to see the participation, if the kids do want to take it, if it's something that they're interested. So we are trying those out in our schools, but now we can offer whole milk and 2% milk. Before it was only 1% or skim milk. Now, if your kid has a dairy allergen, we do also have dairy-free alternatives. So if your student would like or is interested in dairy-free milk, please contact us so that we can go ahead and provide that to your student. For next year's, we are preparing our current menus and next year's menus for our school lunch and breakfast. We are working to gradually reduce the added sugar and sodium in our menus to prepare for the fall 2027 guidelines. As you can see in our timeline, by fall 2027, our menus will have no more than 10% of added sugar to their weekly calories. And our sodium is also reducing 10% reduction for breakfast and 50% for lunch. You can visit more information on the USDA guidelines on the QR code if you're interested to see more information on the guidelines that have been made from 2024 to 2027. Now I'm moving on to our Texas guidelines. So state legislation. So what is currently happening with our states, and I'll specifically talk about the Texas updates. Currently, we have 30 states in our nation that are working on 85 bills that are banning food dyes and certain processing ingredients. Texas just passed a bill that will go in effect immediately July 1st, 2026, and that is about banning the following additives and certain processing items that you see on the screen. So what does that mean for us? That means that we are preparing our school lunches and breakfast and menus to already be free from all artificial dyes and state-banned ingredients. And we're working with all our manufacturing partners to make sure that any product that has any of these items that are banned are reformulated. But in summary, just like I mentioned, basically what it means for us in the nutrition program and for our students, whole milk and 2% milk are now allowed for our lunch for K through 12 students. Our school menus are now free from artificial food dyes and the state-banned ingredients starting the beginning of next school year. And lastly, we are proactively reducing added sugar and sodium to prepare for our 2027 and 2028 school year. I just want to reassure you that for our department, we are closely monitoring any regulations that are being changed and actively making those changes to make sure that we're in compliance with our USDA guidelines and most importantly, give the healthiest food options to our students. Okay. And now moving on, I do want to mention that we do have a free summer meal program during our summer breaks. Our students, any children, they don't even have to attend our district, can come to our schools that are 18 years and younger and can receive a free meal. So it's no cost to children. Adults can purchase a meal for $5. And it's available in all Clint ISD schools starting June. Right now we don't have the full schedule of all schools because they will vary based on the time and days, but if you can just keep, we'll make sure to remind everybody and post it on our website of all those, the menu and also the schedule of which schools will be open at what time. And then lastly, I do want to invite all our community to attend tomorrow's Menu Advisory Committee meeting. This is for our parents, students, and any community member where you can help us provide any feedback and help share any ideas or, that you would like to see in our school menus. It's going to be in Surratt Elementary School. It's tomorrow, the 26th at 5 p.m. in the cafeteria. And that is all I have. Does anybody have any questions?
I have a question. For the milk alternatives, they still need a doctor's note, or that's not going to be required anymore?
At the time, we do still need a doctor's note, being that we provide, since not everybody's having, let's say, almond milk, or so at the time, for now, we do offer it. I'll keep you posted if that does change. For now, we are providing that. If they're not able to get a doctor's note, a parent's note will also suffice.
Not so much a question, but just a comment. I was over at Ricardo Estrada last night, and kids were eating, and I was sitting around 15 kids, you know, and that's kind of unusual, but I asked the kids, I always do, hey, what'd you think about your dinner tonight? And they said, oh my God, it was so good. And the surprising thing was, typically, you know, if I get 70 or 80% of the kids, you know, I'm a little surprised, but 100% of those kids really enjoyed their meal. And I said, just tonight's meal or all meals? And they said, no, all meals. We love the food here at Ricardo Serrata, so keep up the good work, team.
Thank you for your feedback. That's all? Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for sharing all these updates with us. I know I'm happy because I like whole milk, so I'm very happy on that aspect. But any other questions, guys, before we wrap up our last SHAC meeting for this school year? No? Well, guys, I want to thank the SHAC team for, you know, getting together all year. You guys attending all year, appreciate everything. Let's wrap up the school year, and then once we set up the dates for the next SHAC meetings for the 26-27 school year, those will be shared on the district website. Once again, thank you guys. You all have a great day.